Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I will talk about a drama movie from 2006 titled The Persuit of Happyness, based on a true story. Without further ado, let's get started. It is 1981, and Chris Gardner, a salesperson from San Francisco, is trying to make both ends meet after he has invested all his family funds in Osteo National bone density scanners. This device costs twice as much, but provides a clearer image than an X-ray machine. After leaving his 5-year-old son, Christopher, whom he shares an unconditional bond with, at the daycare, he heads toward the doctors to sell his product. Still, they consider the scanner useless and expensive, getting rejected from almost every clinic. After a hectic day without a single product being sold, Chris is reminded to pay the taxes by his wife, Linda, who helps him complete their American dreams by working double shifts doing manual work at the laundry daily. Linda seems stressed out by their financial crisis. Her husband tries to comfort her, but now she is too upset to be relaxed. While walking on the road aiming to sell his scanner, he passes by a financially stable man who works as a stockbroker. Chris seems flattered with his job, and in response to his query about what demands it takes to be a stockbroker, the man replies, "You just have to be good with the numbers and people." Chris discusses his idea to become a stockbroker to his wife, to which she doesn't seem satisfied, complaining that they are already 2 months behind in paying the rent, and next week they will owe 3 months. Still, instead of focusing on his job, he is thinking of something he is not capable of doing. The next day, before entering the office, he hands over his scanner to a lady singing outside to take care of it while submitting his application as an intern there. While discussing the application procedure, he witnesses the lady running away with his medical device. After chasing her to the station, he misses her. Now, gloomy Chris has nothing left but a piece of internship application in his hand. The following day, he enters the office to look for Mr. J. Twistle, who oversees Twitter resources in the main office. The reason behind handing over the application to him personally is to explain to him the points that seem to be weaknesses in his application. But Mr. J, being in a rush, has no time for this. Getting out of the office, Chris is fortunate enough to see the lady that took his medical device. But this time, he successfully manages to retrieve it, saving him cash for a month of groceries. On the other hand, Chris's wife, Linda, is fed up with the hardships and doesn't trust her husband anymore. To lock his internship opportunity, he finds ways to clarify his application to Mr. J. While going to Noy Valley, Chris joins him to take his precious time. While traveling, Chris manages to impress him by solving a Rubik's Cube, a 1974 invention that requires mathematical reasoning to be solved. After being chased by the taxi driver whom he didn't pay for the ride, he accidentally loses his medical device at the train station. Linda is done bearing too much stress and finally decides to leave him, taking their son with her. Hearing this on the phone, Chris immediately runs to the house, thinking that happiness is something we can only pursue but not get. But before he reaches home, they are gone. Meanwhile, Dean Witter calls and informs him about his internship interview the day after tomorrow. He is too exhausted even to celebrate the interview call. The next day, Chris meets Linda, saying that their son will stay with him no matter the circumstances. At night, he is ordered to leave his apartment for not paying the rent for 3 months, to which he demands a week more extension in exchange for painting the apartment. While he is painting, the police arrive at the door, taking him to the police station for not paying for the parking tickets. To make everything clear, he has to stay in the police station till tomorrow morning, just when he has to give his internship interview. After being released, he rushes for his interview dressed like a painter with paint all over his body. The interviewers, along with Mr. J, seem disappointed with him at the start of the interview. But soon, with his intelligence, clever answers, and presence of mind, Chris gets selected for the internship. His perseverance pays off, but the only problem he seems to face is that the training is unpaid. Jay stops Chris while walking away to congratulate him on landing the internship. However, he makes it clear that even though he presented him for the internship, it is an unpaid post that will last for 6 months. He has to consider it in light of the altered situation, but Jay nudges him to go on. His 4 scanners, which he can still attempt to sell, would be his only income source for the next 6 months. If he sells them all, he can cover his expenses. Later that day, Linda and Christopher show up and inform Chris that Linda will be traveling to New York for work and intends to bring her son along. Chris wants his son to stay with him. Linda asks him about his sources of income, to which Chris replies that he interns at Dean Witter. She remains dubious but confident that he will look after their son. After that, Chris phones Jay to accept the internship. A few days later, the father and son shift to a neighboring motel with the aid of Chris's pal. Later, while playing basketball together, Christopher confesses to his father his desire to play professionally. He becomes upset when Chris advises that this is nearly impossible and that he should pay attention to anything else. Chris believes he is repressing his son in the same manner that others have repressed him. He then advises him not to let others dictate what he can and cannot accomplish. Chris eventually sells his medical device and makes enough money to live. Chris leaves for his internship the following day. 20 candidates are chosen, but only one will be hired. Chris bumps into Mr. Fromm during the 10-minute lunch break, but their talk is interrupted when Chris recognizes the device he misplaced earlier. As he reaches for it, he is struck by a car, losing one of his shoes. Chris's office manager treats him poorly throughout the following few days, ordering him to perform distracting favors for him. Despite feeling undervalued and unloved, he has a positive attitude and gives it his all. Days spent doing an internship feel hard because he is also responsible for his son. After 6 months, the person who has made the most revenue for the company will be recruited. While other interns have 9 hours each day to complete their tasks, Chris only gets 6 hours because of Christopher. Chris chooses to bypass the line of ordinary people and directly contacts a CEO, Mr. Robin, because even after 2 months, he is still having trouble with his call sheet. He has the chance to meet with him in 20 minutes, but as he is about to go, his manager instructs him to park his car, diverting him once again. He misses the scheduled meeting because he can't locate a parking place and is stuck in traffic congestion. Chris invites his son to accompany him on a sales trip the following day and suggests they go to a football game afterwards. The next morning, they head to the CEO, Mr. Robin's house, whose meeting Chris had previously skipped. He apologizes for missing the chance to meet him and expresses gratitude for the opportunity. The two are then invited to a football game by Mr. Robin so that they may chat. Chris is informed by Mr. Robin during the game that there's no chance that he will consent to Dean Witter handling his finances. However, Chris has offered Mr. Robin's friends his phone number during the game if they require his services. Everything is going okay when suddenly Chris receives a letter from the government stating the withdrawal of his money from his bank account for not paying taxes. He has only $21.33 left in his bank account. Chris heads to his friend furiously, who owes him money but refuses to give it back as he helped them move. He is also scolded by the owner of their apartment for not paying the rent. That noon, when Chris has taken his son to a park, he spots the mentally disabled man who took his medical device earlier. He takes it back, cleans it, and tries to sell it to the doctors, but the machine is not working after days without maintenance. When Chris returns after being rejected by doctors, he witnesses his apartment being locked for not paying the rent. His financial condition becomes so shaky that he has to spend the night at the station's bathroom with his son. However, the next day they find a place to rest and fix his device. Someday he gets a room with a Glide memorial, but other days he has to spend time at the restaurant or sell his blood to repair his machine. Meanwhile, he's learned a lot from his internship, finishing his final exam efficiently. Finally, after selling his fixed device, he gets the money to live in a far finer place than Glide's. Chris is making a lot of effort to attract as many clients as possible before the internship is through, so he can bring in more money for the business than other interns. The day before the results are revealed, Jay meets Chris and informs him that rumors are circulating about him that he has signed 31 accounts for the company from Pacific Bells. He states that regardless of the outcomes, he has done a fantastic job. While Chris is talking to his client on the phone, the office manager arrives and takes him to the main office. While sitting there, Chris says that he is wearing a shirt today as this is his last day, to which Mr. Fromm replies that he will wear one tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be his first day if he likes to take a job as a broker here. His eyes are filled with tears after hearing this news. After thanking them for this opportunity, he goes to bring Christopher from the daycare while thinking that after several ups and downs, this little part of his life is called happiness. After a few years working at Dean Witter, he founded his own investment firm, Gardner Rich, broadening the ways to his success. The movie ends with Chris and Christopher walking, holding each other's hand, joking, laughing, and living their best life. The end. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you would like to see more fantastic movie recaps like this.